This is Stephanie at JesusWired, here with Disciple, catching up with them. They've got a new album coming out on September 13th. So did you guys choose Friday the 13th on purpose as a release date?
Yeah, so we basically were talking with Tooth and Nail and looking at kind of the timeline once we were done. And we were on the phone and we were looking at tours and shows, and they kind of had an idea of when to release singles leading up to the album. And so we started looking at, well, these are kind of some dates we could do. And I think we thought, oh, Friday the 13th, that's pretty cool. Also, there's a great festival, two great festivals that weekend that we're playing. So we thought it would be a great time to put it out. And it's also our scariest album, so...
The guy said give him something spooky.
Yeah, they wanted something spooky.
You guys have had quite a few albums now with such a long career. Do you still feel the same excitement with the release of this record as you have, the whole time with the earlier records?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, there's just always, when you create something and creating art and you're wanting to see how people react to it and if they like it, and, we like it and are really excited about it. And so, but we're so close to the songs. We've worked hard on them. We've heard them at least 500 times a piece, and probably way more than that actually. And so we're just ready for other people to hear them and see what they think. So yeah, I think we're very excited.
It's probably always like about as exciting every time. You've made many albums, and even the ones that we've made, it's just that same feeling every time of, a little bit of nervous, a little bit excited, and just happy that it's coming out, and it's great. And being with Tooth and Nail is awesome as well. We did our last two albums on Kickstarter, and very, very exciting in a lot of different ways, but also very difficult and stressful. So having Tooth on board, handling a lot of the logistics has been really cool.
I'm sure you guys have written a lot of songs. So how do you decide which ones make the cut for this album?
Man, it's a team effort on that one. We really just talk a lot about the songs, and talk about how we're feeling about it. And, it's so funny, the songs that you're excited about when you're going in to record, and then the songs you're excited about when you're finally done. It's always different. There's just songs that when they're finally done, they sneak up and, are really special. Songs like Wake Up or Never Too Late, I don't think were really high on anybody's radar, and now, they're extremely high on my radar, But then there's the songs that we were excited about the whole time, like Chemical Wisdom, that was great going in. It's great, coming out of the studio. So we just talk a lot, really, about, this and that. And I think we made the decision, like in the studio, what 3 songs weren't. We went in with 15 and we left with 12, and we, like, first day 1, day 2, we decided which 3 we weren't going to record. I think
we'd all made lists, ranked lists. Each person had made a ranked list of the 15 songs, including we had our producer Travis Wyrick make a list, our A&R guy at Tooth and Nail make a list, and we did it very analytically and made a point system and kind of. That basically told the story. And so it was one of those things where when we looked at the list with the rankings, the bottom 3, we were kind of like, yeah, I think we're all okay with that. Like the what kind of shook out kind of made sense.
And everyone obviously kept their list secret from each other because we didn't want to like sway the opinion or whatnot. It wanted to be like a true, like, what do you think? And so it was kind of a cool. We had never done it like that before either. Not that I can remember.
I don't know.
But yeah, it was cool.
That's why I didn't want anybody to know that I was, like, secretly going around calling everybody, telling them how to vote. So I wanted them to think that it was all, on the level, but really I was influencing the whole time. I'm kidding. I didn't do that.
I'm still waiting on the money that you said you would pay me for voting for your songs.
Vote for my song. Vote for my song.
So with each of your new albums, you guys always keep it fresh, new ideas, new writing and everything. I feel like this album in particular, though, has a lot of like throwbacks to older albums. Can hear like little riffs here and there that kind of are reminiscent of different albums. Did you guys do that intentionally? Kind of like throwback to, bringing some of the older stuff to the forefront?
I don't think so. I think we just were writing songs that we thought were cool. I don't think, most of the songs where the music was written first and then lyrics were second, and so I think we were just writing.
Yeah, I think it was acknowledged in the writing process as like, because I am a huge fan of old school Disciple. I'm like a huge fan of the early '90s, like new metal, all that stuff. So anything with like some groove and some bounce to it. So I think during the writing process, if Joe like wrote a demo and it had that, I was like, oh dude, that sounds like old school and I love it, So we just kind of took it and ran from there.
Yeah, it's funny because for us who haven't been in the band as long as Kev, myself and Andrew and Joey, it's like we're so well versed in the old Disciple catalog from playing it all that it becomes an influence on our writing as much as a band that I just am a fan of that I'm not a part of. You know what I mean? So I love Blink-182, and so I've got that influence, but I've also got just Disciple as an influence in my writing beyond just being in the band, if that makes sense. And so same with Andrew, and so yeah, we write these things that just kind of feel like what we would play live because we're playing 100 shows a year, and so that just kind of becomes this instinct, and so it kind of just every album I feel more like in sync with just what Disciple's music feels like and what it should feel like, and that's why I think we keep making better records, in my opinion.
And I'm sure that helps keep the longtime fans engaged and coming back for the awesome new music.
Yeah, some of them are engaged, some of them are single, some of them are married.
Well, if we're writing stuff that we like, then we're going to have fun. And I think, that's been the thing, from being there since day one. Every time we would perform, we were performing songs that we really enjoyed making and enjoyed performing. We weren't actually putting on a quote-unquote show. We were, enjoying the show as much as anybody else. So I think if we're writing songs that we like, people are going to see, that we like them. And at least like that we like them,
right.
Right. And at least see those guys are having a good time. They like their own songs. So,
all right. So, I feel like one of the biggest topics in culture today is the subject of mental health, and the tendency to either play the victim card or just write a prescription, deal with the symptoms, don't get to the root cause or anything like that. I feel like a few of the songs on this record kind of deal with touch on those themes, especially Misery and Chemical Wisdom. Did you guys intend those to be kind of like commentaries on those issues?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when we're talking to people about these things, I feel it's hard to generalize and just say the world, but there's really no other way to put it, because when you say the world, I mean, you're talking about a lot of different people. You're talking about, doctors and scientists and mental health professionals and just people who know a lot about mental health issues. So lumping them all in the same, bunch is not fair, but I really don't have any other choice right now. So, but, when you're talking about it, they really only have so many areas that they can discuss, physically and emotionally. And, and with Disciple, we're coming from a different perspective on all of our songs and all the topics that we write about. The spiritual focus of our band is very important. And, to tackle any issue, and mental health especially, and leave out the spiritual component is absolutely ridiculous and insane. If we are totally a physical, emotional, spiritual being, and you're only going to address certain aspects and you're leaving out this one major component, how much of our emotional state and our ability to be positive, our ability to cope, our ability to handle situations and stress and anxieties when at a spiritual level, whenever we are spiritually healthy and when we're not spiritually healthy, if you don't take that into account, and you're just throwing medicine at the problem the whole entire time and don't even, involve the fact that we're talking about a spiritual being, then yeah, it's to me it's insane. It's ridiculous to view it that way. It's like just treating a leg when there's a whole lot more to a person than just their leg. And so yeah, we definitely were having a commentary on that, because we feel like there's a lot of people that are struggling with mental health issues, and then it's also kind of in vogue to have mental health issues, like people who actually don't, are like, yeah, I do, and I have it, but it's as weird as it sounds, it's almost cool to have mental health problems, and we want to talk about it, and address it from the spiritual angle for sure.
And I've heard so many stories of how your guys' songs have touched people and helped them through a difficult time or helped them get over, some struggle they were dealing with. So I'm sure these new songs will definitely reach people for that. So we've got a couple listener questions. There's we got a question from Courtney Simpson. She wants to know, where did the inspiration for the images written about in Fire Away come from? It reminds her of the piercing nature of the sword of the Spirit.
Yeah, when this was such a cool song to be a part of because it went through so many stages. It was one of the few songs that Andrew Stanton wrote the initial drafts of lyrics. He doesn't really write lyrics very much, and he wrote these lyrics. And then our buddy Dane Allen came along and wrote the second draft of lyrics. And as I was listening to the second draft, I was really moved by the idea of the kill shot, of the fire away moment, and that metaphor of God just kind of having his way with our life. Really, the dichotomy of what Jesus said, he was like, if you want to gain, your life, then you're going to lose it. If you lay down your life for my sake and for the gospel, then you'll find it. I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? That's just absolutely insane. And so this is what that song is about, is coming to God and saying, all right, take my life, kill me, destroy me, destroy my world so that I might live in you. And so every line of the song references the kill shot, every single line. And I thought that was something cool that we've never really done. So like every line from beginning to end is actually pointing to God saying, just destroy me that I might live in you. And I was really excited and proud of that in the artistic expression of how many different ways we said the same thing from beginning to end. It doesn't feel like you're saying the same thing, but if you actually look at the lyrics, it's like every single line is that. So we're really proud of it.
That's great that you guys put so much intention and thought into the lyrics and not just like throw out whatever random things that come to mind.
No.
All right, we've got another question from Christina Strawn. She wants to know, what is your favorite song off of Love Letter Kill Shot? What songs are you looking forward to playing live the most? And do you have any plans for any music videos, perhaps including the fans again?
That's 3 questions. Not fair.
I only remember a couple.
Not fair. Favorite song? That's actually a really hard one. Like he was saying, we've heard them all so many times.
Pass me that CD right there so I can look at it.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, we got the CD. We got to study up. We also have only played 3 of them live so far, and a lot of times the live component is what makes it kind of a favorite for us and fun. Just on the record, I would probably say Chemical Wisdom would be my favorite.
Man, it's so difficult. Man, my favorite it's probably Panic Room. I love that song, but Wake Up is also awesome. Reanimate's great.
They're all great.
Touch of Pain is really good. Never Too Late, it's great. Chemical Wisdom is awesome. Misery is also I'm just kidding. But the one I'm looking forward to playing live that we haven't started playing live yet is Wake Up. That song is like, it moves like from the minute that it starts. I remember in the recording studio when the count off would start, like right before I'd hit the first note, Travis, our producer, would come over the thing. He's like, take a deep breath. Here you go. Because it was basically like it doesn't stop from beginning to end. So yeah, it doesn't let up. And the third question, what was it?
Music video.
Oh, music. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Reanimate is probably one of the best songs that we've ever had in Disciple. It's really, really strong. I love the the message behind the song. Wake Up is probably my favorite song on the album. I think it just came out of a really personal place for me, and but I also love the verses of Never Too Late, and the guitar riff of Never Too Late is like my favorite guitar riff of the album. So those three kind of rank up there pretty high for me.
And how was your experience working with Andrew Schwab on Panic Room?
Andrew's a buddy of ours, and so we've had spent a lot of time with Andrew right here in this front lounge of this bus. And when we were writing Panic Room, kind of was trying to sound like him in that part, and kept, trying to perform it, and did fine. But we always were talking about like inviting somebody to be a guest vocalist on the album, and I was like, well, I keep trying to sing this one part like Andrew, so we might as well just invite him out. And of course, like, he just nailed it and crushed it, and just he has such a commanding and awesome voice, and so it really did turn out exactly like what we thought it was going to, and so that was cool.
Yeah, it's funny because we didn't see him at all. Like, he's in California, and he recorded it out there in a studio locally, and just sent us the files, and we dropped them in and sent it off to mix. So it was very fast and easy, and we never saw him. Might not have even been him. I don't know. Might have been an impersonator.
Pretty sure.
Are there any thoughts or plans of a Disciple Project 86 tour at any point in the future?
Next weekend.
We're talking about who we're going to take out in the spring right now, so could be Project 86. We don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Could be Coldplay.
Could be Coldplay. They've always
I haven't heard back.
they told me a long time ago they wanted to open up for us.
Yeah.
So
Do you think you'll be hitting Brazil on this next tour?
we will be hitting Brazil through the airwaves of streaming. We love Brazil, so if Brazil ever actually invites us, more than just a social media post that says come to Brazil, if someone actually calls us and says we want you to play at such and such place and come, then we will, and we would love to do that, because yes, we see come to Brazil quite a bit, enough to where we get asked that in interviews. So
and lastly, what do you guys hope that people will take away from this album?
Disciple's always been and still is very evangelistic in nature, and we're really hoping that people hear the record and are spiritually moved, and that the messages of the record really push them in the direction of Christ, and that especially with the mental health songs, that they won't look at it as this daunting thing that is overwhelming and stronger than God, that that the Spirit of God is stronger than our shame, than our sin, than our regret, than our problems, than our sicknesses, than even our mental health struggles. And people, we want to just create our issues as like they are the king, and they are indestructible and they cannot be beaten, and it's just simply not true. That like the disciples are in the boat facing their greatest fears, fishermen, their greatest fear of drowning, and the storm is happening. Put the metaphor in there. What's your greatest fear? Whether it's cancer or whether it's mental health or anxiety or depression or whatever, put your greatest fear in place in that moment. And Jesus, steps out and says, "Peace, be still." You can either keep your eye on the storm and be afraid for your life and be terrified, or you can recognize that Jesus is right there with you. You have the choice, because he's the one that can, speak to the storm, and that's it. And I hope that that's what people take away from the record.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure to chat with you guys. Can't wait for everyone to hear the album. It's awesome, and I'm sure it's going to, definitely make a big impact.
Thank you.